I'm going to turn it over to the Chief to provide an update and some of the details based on the limited amount of information that we have thus far this morning, and then I will provide some comments myself. Chief?
My name is Brian O'Hara, B-R-I-A-N-O''H-A-R-A. I am the Minneapolis Police Chief. At approximately 9:03 a.m. this morning, Minneapolis police received a report of a shooting involving federal law enforcement in the area of East 26th Street and Nicollet Avenue on the south side of the city. Officers arrived and found an adult male with multiple gunshot wounds when they arrived. Life-saving aid was being rendered, and he was transported by ambulance to Hennepin County Medical Center, where he was later pronounced deceased. Based on the information that we have, which is very limited, this is a 37-year-old white male who is a Minneapolis resident, and we believe he is an American citizen. We have not been told any official reports of what has led up to the shooting, but we have seen the video that is circulating on social media. Our demand today is for those federal agencies that are operating in our city to do so with the same discipline, humanity, and integrity that effective law enforcement in this country demands. We urge everyone to remain peaceful. We recognize that there is a lot of anger and a lot of questions around what has happened, but we need people to remain peaceful. In the area, we have an unlawful assembly at this time. Minneapolis police have given multiple warnings for the crowd to disperse. We are asking for people to avoid the area and to leave if you are there. We have requested mutual aid from the Minnesota State Patrol and from all our local and county regional partners. We ask everyone to remain calm and to please do not destroy our own city.
I just saw a video of more than 6 masked agents pummeling one of our constituents and shooting him to death. How many more residents, how many more Americans need to die or get badly hurt for this operation to end? How many more lives need to be lost before this administration realizes that a political and partisan narrative is not as important as American values? How many times must local and national leaders must plead with you, Donald Trump, to end this operation and recognize that this is not creating safety in our city? As you'll hear from Director Sayer in just a second, we have seen these kinds of operations in other places, in other countries, but not here in America. Not in a way where a great American city is being invaded by its own federal government. I'm done being told that our community members are responsible for the vitriol in our streets. I'm done being told that our local elected officials are solely responsible for turning down the temperature. Just yesterday, we saw 15,000 people peacefully protesting in the streets, speaking out, standing up for their neighbors. Not a single broken window, not a single injury. Those peaceful protests embody the very principles that both Minneapolis and America was founded upon. Conversely, the mass militarized force and unidentified agents who are occupying our streets, that is what weakens our country. That is what erodes trust in both law enforcement and in democracy itself. So to everyone listening, stand with Minneapolis. Stand up for America. Recognize that your children will ask you what side you were on. Your grandchildren will ask you what you did to act to prevent this from happening again, to make sure that the foundational elements of our democracy were rock solid. What did you do to protect your city? What did you do to protect your nation? This is not what America is about. This is not a partisan issue. This is an American issue. This administration and everyone involved in this operation should be reflecting. They should be reflecting right now and asking themselves, what exactly are you accomplishing? If the goal was to achieve peace and safety, this is doing exactly the opposite. If the goal was to achieve calm and prosperity, this is doing exactly the opposite. Are you standing up for American families right now? Or are we tearing them apart?
Perhaps what he doesn't understand, obviously, is the actual goal. The goal, as far as I know, and it's probably as far as you know, is to rid this country of vermin, to get the people out of the country who aren't supposed to be here. They don't seem to understand that. And when he said 14 or 15,000 people were out in the street yesterday, number one, I don't know how many of them are from Minneapolis. Number two, you have to understand what he just said. Nobody in your town cares. There are 450,000 people that live in just Minneapolis. So what you just told us is only 3% of the people in your own town give a crap. Just let that just settle in your mind right now. Now, just to let you guys know, I've got Fox up. I'm waiting for the Border Patrol and ICE to go. I've got everything ready to pop up, should something happen. So we're going to keep running with it. As soon as ICE comes up, we'll cut to it. But I've got this idiot on right now so you guys can see they are not looking to acquiesce. What the hell must they be hiding so bad? How bad must the fraud be? How bad must be what you've done to accommodate all these newcomers? How bad must it be that you're willing to keep people out there? Instead of coming out and saying, all right, this is too much, we're done, we're going to comply and we're going to work with ICE. Done. Over. We get these people out of here. I live in Florida. I live in South Florida. You don't think ICE is down here? Yeah, the reason why you don't hear any of this kind of crap, because the police departments are working with ICE. Probably where you are. No big deal. Sun's out. Some of you guys are looking at snow. Down here it's beach. It's beautiful. It's warm. It's great. This is a city that is mired in vermin attraction. They want these people. They need these dirt bags in their city for some reason. It's very simple. Cooperate and get the newcomers out of here. Why is it so damn important that all these people who aren't supposed to be there you're willing to have people die to keep them there? I don't know.
Invasion of these heavily armed masked agents roaming around on our streets of Minneapolis, emboldened with a sense of impunity, it has to end. This is not how it has to be. So, to President Trump, this is a moment to act like a leader. Put Minneapolis, put America first in this moment. Let's achieve peace. Let's end this operation, and I'm telling you, our city will come back. Safety will be restored.
He didn't get it. It has nothing to do with safety. It has everything to do with getting these people out of here. They just don't accept it. What safety? The city's safe. I'm pretty sure people who live in the outskirts of Minneapolis feel pretty safe, except for wondering if some newcomer is going to come crawling through the window and attacking little Joni. You want this to end? Follow the frickin' law. Instead, you're telling President Trump, let everything go. Let everybody continue to break the law. There's no need to have, to get these people out of here. Do I seem hot? Yeah, I'm pretty hot about this because I've never seen government embrace lawlessness. Leave us alone and everything will be okay, said every criminal in the world. Don't arrest me. Don't take me out of here. Everything will be fine. Don't you worry about it. We'll be good. Just take the cops away and let us have our way with Minneapolis. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way in school. It doesn't work that way in sports. It doesn't work that way in relationships. And we have the mayor and governor saying, just let us have our little criminal activity here. Let us embezzle gazillions of dollars and let us have all these people here who aren't supposed to be here. And everything will be fine. Seriously, bro?
We're asking for you to take action now to remove these federal agents. Director Sayer.
My name is Rachel Sayer, and I am the Director of the Emergency Management Department for the City of Minneapolis. I took this job to keep us safe because I live here, and this is my community. We are doing everything we can to mitigate the impacts of this terrible situation. The city's Emergency Operations Center continues to be activated, as it has throughout the surge in federal agents over the last few weeks. We are tracking impacts and coordinating the city's response to this situation, which is having profound repercussions in our community. I can't underscore enough how much Operation Metro Surge is impacting our city. Families with loved ones detained and those who are afraid to be in public lest they become targets need help accessing the most basic necessities.
Who's afraid of being a target? I can tell you, if I was in Minneapolis, I wouldn't have any problem. Who is it that's afraid of being targeted? Maybe that's what you should be addressing. Why are they afraid of being targeted? This is the most insane. If this is where our country is, it's absolutely crazy. If this is what the Democrats are embracing, they might as well keep embracing men playing boy sports and men getting pregnant, because 90% of the country is sitting back going, well, you're fighting the cops. You're throwing stones and everything else at police officers who have every single right to expect to go home, as the bad guys do. Even more so. They're for America. These people are waving upside down flag. You had the balls to go up on stage just now and say, America first. And I'm watching people waving communist flags and upside down American flags. You've completely lost the narrative except for the kooks. I've got Fox on and I've got everything on, and I'm seeing these people ready to do battle. If it wasn't 10 degrees below zero, they probably already had started the fires. What is wrong with Minneapolis? What in the hell is wrong with this city? I mean, you guys have a complete virus or something there. There's something really, really wrong with Minneapolis, going all the way back to George Floyd. Why do you guys have, shouldn't you build burn-proof buildings or something? These people are nuts. Did all the people from asylums and everything else end up there? Cat ladies went crazy? What the hell is wrong with Minneapolis? How do these people have no friggin' lives? I can't tell you. I cannot tell you. Peaceful protest? There's something you left out. The chief of police, the mayor, and this chick, they all left out. Who brings a gun to a peaceful protest? You want to answer that one? See, the problem you guys are having is you've had it good. You've stolen gazillions of dollars, and nobody in the Biden administration even looked your way. As long as the checks probably went to them, you had your way. Now it's over, and you don't want to let go of that. Probably you don't want to let go of your freedom either. But you may lose both. At this point, you're asking for President Trump to stand down. I think most of us are saying, bring more, bring all the penguins, bring everybody you got.
Like food, housing, and rides to school. Businesses are shuttering and our local economy is severely impacted, which means families are suffering, just as we were rounding a corner in our recovery.
Who's closing businesses? Who wants to close a business because ICE is getting illegals out? Maybe people who depended upon them? Maybe people who are them? Maybe people who depended upon stolen money and fraud? If I was them, I'd be selling hot cocoa and donuts right now to the oh, that's right. I can't sell anything to the protesters because they're broke ass. Nothing these people makes any sense. At this point, you just need to just move Tim Walz, get rid of Jacob Fry, get rid of Keith Ellison, and start over. You're not doing this correct. You're not doing it right at all. You're showing America, that this place is it is Somalia. I mean, for lack of better words, we turn on television or YouTube and like, wow, those people got it really bad. They're a bunch of idiots running around trying to do shit. And everywhere else in the country, we're like, sounds good here. Nobody's bothering us. Beautiful sunshine out right now. Warm, people in the pool, people at the beach. Sorry about that. I understand that might have been a low blow for what some of you guys are expecting. But this is crazy. And I would love to know, do people find this as normal? Anywhere in the country. I remember the riots way back in the civil rights days, and it was the same thing. It was in a small pocket. And now you got you got the chief of police begging people not to burn the city down. Hey, dude, yeah, that's your job. I mean, if you see people out there getting ready to burn stuff down, that's your job. You're begging criminals? How about a different tone? How about if anybody's out there with any incendiary device and we catch you, we're going to prosecute you to the fullest extent of the law. No, please don't burn down our city. Please don't do that.
Many of our Minneapolis residents, my neighbors, my friends, my community members, are ceasing participation in public life, afraid to even go to the doctor. In response, the city enterprise continues to utilize our entire emergency apparatus. That means staff across departments, often around the clock, are putting their regular jobs on hold in order to respond to the impacts of Metro Surge. I want everyone to know there are numerous resources available to community members right now. We have mental health help available.
Oh, you ain't got enough mental health, honey. You need to bring in like tractor trailer loads full of people with mental health. You got a whole city full of berserkers. They're absolutely bat poop crazy. You ain't doing enough with the mental health, or either that or it ain't working. You need to bring in a whole bunch of psychobabble people because these people are nuts. That's like the first thing I'm like, yeah, you need more of that. You need couches. You need to convert warehouses. You need to bring in electromagnetic shock therapy. You need to do it all. You have fostered an environment of insanity and you're coddling it. You need some mental health. We'll bring you in so we can talk to you. Oh, you can't go to the doctor because somebody that's not supposed to be here might get arrested? You can't even tell. I don't know how I'm going to exist. I don't know what I'm seeing here. People are getting arrested. Kids are getting detained. Are there no adults in Minnesota? Is there nobody employed in Minneapolis that says, come on, man, this is nuts? People go through much worse. People go through things personally. And somehow they're still able to survive. My wife just had to visit her sister in Las Vegas who went through heart procedures. And she didn't come home and go, I can't do anything anymore. I understand compassion. I'm compassionate. I think it'd be very, very compassionate for people to take $3,000 and a plane ticket and get the hell out of our country.
We have food assistance, housing and rental assistance, legal help.
Oh, that's why you guys have the problem you have. Okay, you just told us. You're giving them everything. We're going to give you mental health. We're going to pay your rent, okay? Because I understand this is so bad we got to pay your rent. Oh, you need groceries? What are we running? The Leering Daycare Center? Are you serious? No wonder they're running around throwing stones and stuff. They get everything for free. It is like little Somalia. You guys are the warlords. This is insane. It's like kinder care for idiots. She just said it. You heard it. We're giving you rent. What the hell does that have to do with anything? I can't pay my rent. Oh my God, they're taking people out of here. I can't pay my rent. Oh, I can't eat. Well, if you're hungry, you're going to eat. Oh, that's right. You're going to give them free food.
We are sharing information about what to do if you are exposed to tear gas, pepper spray, or other chemical agents. And
how about you give them other direction? How not to get exposed to tear gas? Dear sirs, if you'd like not to get exposed to tear gas, stay your happy ass home. You're all doing it wrong. I'm saying, fly me out. I'll fix this. I'll fix this in a day. Yeah, me, Robin, Ashley, Beth. Hey, we'll go out there. SV, you can handle these nuts. This isn't hard work. This is just coming back to reality. We'll show you what to do when you get tear gassed. Why are these people always reactive instead of proactive? How about telling me, here's what we're going to do. Stay your ass home. It's warm. You don't have to worry about going out in the freezing temperatures, and you won't have to ever worry about being tear gassed. Wow, that's some good advice. But no, we'll tell you what happens after you get gassed. Are you kidding me?
State AGs and ACLU are collecting reports of rights violations. You can access these resources on the city's virtual resource center at minneapolismn.gov/ICE. Please share this information with your neighbors. We have help and we want you to be able to access that. My background is in international humanitarian response in
Then I wouldn't have hired you. That's it right there. This is one big joke. I don't care what your background is. Oh, international studies. So you're going to tell me what's good for other people in other countries.
Conflict zones in Yemen, Haiti, Syria, Iraq, and Ukraine. What I've seen here is what I've seen there.
No. Man, I would be the worst press person in the world. I'm like, no, you haven't seen it. You know why? Ain't nobody looking to break into Somalia. There's nobody like trying to cross the border to get into Somalia. So no, you haven't seen it. You haven't seen it at all. There's nobody breaking in and trying to cross the border into Ukraine. See, I'd be that person. Can you remove him? He's got too much sense. We count on talking to reporters who have no clue what the hell they're talking about. I've seen it all over. No, you haven't. You know how I also know you haven't? Go steal from a warlord in Somalia and see what kind of court and due process you have. We won't see you again. Go ahead and try to steal something in one of those Arab countries like Iran. And if they catch you, what happens? Due process. Due process. You haven't seen it before. Be honest with people.
Powerful entity violently and intentionally terrorizing people, making them afraid to go outside so they can't earn a living, so that kids are forced out of school. This has a lasting generational impact.
Do they not know that's the idea? Do they not know these people not being able to avail themselves of certain services that we pay for is the actual idea behind all this? Is to make them uncomfortable so that they leave? Obviously, what you're seeing here, and the reason why I'm even showing it, is because you're looking at a government, a group of people who don't give a crap about America and have no discernment between a citizen and someone who's not supposed to be here. The empathy that these people are showing is generational impact. Not to us, To us, the generational impact is how much money you've stolen. We're never going back. I just want you guys to know, we are never, ever, ever going to be a united country, I guess, in our lifetimes. Something has happened. These people have snapped, and I don't know how we unbreak them. They think we're the crazy ones because it's like, well, no, we just want our country to be America, and they're telling us by even hiring an international studies whack job that that's not the way we're going to be doing things here. God help us.
People can't plan a single day of their lives because they don't know who is around the corner and if their family member or neighbor is about to be taken away. In these times, you see both the best and the worst. The worst is the terror and the feeling of helplessness. The best will continue to be our community's response. The way we are showing up for each other, that is in the absolute worst of times. We're showing up for each other in the absolute worst of times.
You're going to laugh. I just got a text from SV. I had to stop and talk. I just told you we are never coming back as a country. Somebody said in Rumble that my background incites violence. The American flag incites violence. If the American flag incites violence, that pretty much tells us you shouldn't be here. And if the American flag incites violence, you know what I say about that? Good. I want the American flag to scare you. I want the American flag not to be a something to be burned because you don't like it, but something that tells you, wow, they might come after me. The American flag incites violence. You better stay in Little Mogadishu up in Somalia.
I'll turn it back to the mayor. Thank you.
We'll open it to questions.
Well, before he gets to the questions, that's the wrong one. Which one do I want to go to? I want to go to this.
Is right in the thick of what we're watching right now, Steve. What is happening?
I say they just fired tear gas again. They threw metal canisters and fired them from rifles as well. They scattered the crowd of about 600 to 700 back again. And it's just an eerie scene in a U.S. city. See the smoke rising the American flag and Americans battling each other. That's another canister coming our way. Right here, and you can see these.
Peaceful protesting at its best. There's some peaceful protesting. Oh, it's simply amazing how peaceful they all look. And again, as you see these things happening, we're talking about maybe 200 people out there causing a problem. Maybe once it gets warmer, there might be a couple thousand. Just keep remembering to yourself that Minneapolis has 450,000 residents. And the media and no one is talking to the other 445,000 people. They're making it out as though the entire city right now is a war zone, that people are afraid to go out of their houses. I bet you $1 to a donut, that's not true. I bet you could go into, if the Minnesota Vikings were playing, there'd probably be 70,000 people there today, joyfully cheering. These people need the discombobulator. And I would almost venture that they're getting ready to roll things out right now.
We are seeing an incredible volatile situation unfolding right now around that scene. Is there any communication right now between local and federal law enforcement or cooperation, or where do those efforts stand to try to calm what's going on down there right now?
Yeah, I'll turn it to the chief to answer.
So the question was, there is an incredibly volatile scene in South Minneapolis right now, and the extent of communication with law enforcement agencies. We have established a command post that is led by Minneapolis Police, and there are representatives from all of the regional, local, county, and state organizations. We have had communication with Homeland Security, but they have not been able to provide us any specific details around the incident itself. We are responsible for ensuring the safety of people on the streets of our city, and we are doing everything that we can to maintain the peace right now, led by Minneapolis police, but with the help of...
He's doing everything he can, huh? Everything you can to make sure everybody's safe, huh?
All of this tear gas just went off on every intersection, and the reason what that was because you had state and local police that all of a sudden were trying to get out of the area. They were leaving these lines they've had holding off these crowds, and as they were pushing back, they fired off this tear gas across the entire...
Yeah, it looks like you're doing everything you can. There's not a Minnesota cop anywhere to be seen. The most inept police chief ever.
Of the Minnesota State Patrol, Hennepin and Ramsey County sheriffs, several suburban towns are in the city helping us with 911 calls. We have done an emergency recall of all sworn personnel back to duty. And we are working with the fire department right now to ensure that 2 small fires that were started in the area are safely extinguished. But again, we need everyone to avoid the area if possible. And the people who are in the area, we understand your frustrations. This is not sustainable.
Go to hell home. Take them home. Declare a curfew. Anybody on the street after, 4 o'clock, you're going to jail. Do something. You're crying on a microphone about things being unsustainable. What are you doing about it? What exactly are the orders that the chief of police have given the officers who are out there, if they're out there? You want to ask that? Anybody in this press conference want to find out what the hell the Minneapolis police are doing?
But we need people to leave the area at this time.
All right, good.
We have communicated with the National Guard. They have been on standby for several days, and we have ensured the National Guard, as well as all of the local law enforcement partners, are aware of the situation.
Chief and Mayor, if I can ask you, this is a statement from Tricia McLaughlin, spokesperson for DHS. She said in her statement, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol officers with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. Seen here, they showed a picture of it. The officers attempted to disarm the suspect, but the armed suspect violently resisted. More details on the armed struggle are forthcoming. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers, an agent fired defensive shots. Medics on the scene immediately delivered medical aid. Is that what happened?
So Minneapolis police, the question was, you read a statement from DHS saying that a weapon was presented and there was attempts to disarm the person. Again, like I stated earlier, Minneapolis police, as well as our supervisors, our watch commander, responded to the scene. We were not provided any public safety statement around the incident, what happened. We have since seen a video that is circulating online, like thousands of other people have at this time. So we do not know what happened prior to the recording that is online right now. I immediately called for the Minnesota Bureau of Criminal Apprehension to respond, to conduct an investigation. They are on the scene. I believe the FBI is on the scene as well.
Next question, Chief Poop-Up. You don't know what happened because your guys weren't there. Again, the reporters won't ask the right question. Why the hell are your guys not out there? Why are you not cooperating with ICE? You would have been front and center. You would have had a front row seat. In fact, your guys would have probably been talking to the white guy who is from America who decides to show up at a protest with a gun. You could have been dealing with it. ICE wouldn't have had to. Border Patrol, they wouldn't have had to deal with it. And these reporters are letting them off the hook because you're sitting in. Why is the chief of police sitting in a press conference while complete mayhem is going on? That'd have been a question. Why are you still standing here? No. I feel like reporters have lost the ability to ask the right questions. Why are you even in this room? Go ahead and get out there with your boys and stop this insanity. He's referring to what Tricia McLaughlin said. She says at 9:05, as DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien wanted for violent assault, which they also didn't say. Oh, wait a minute, hold on. Dan, I almost said Dan Bongino.
Thank you all for being here today. I'm Gregory Bovino, and I have the privilege and honor of leading United States Border Patrol and Customs and Border Protection here in Minneapolis. Some of those brave men and women of Border Patrol and Department of Homeland Security law enforcement join me here today to show support for all federal law enforcement who have been under constant attack in Minneapolis for weeks now. This morning was no different. At 9:05 a.m. Central Standard Time, as DHS law enforcement officers were conducting a targeted operation in Minneapolis against an illegal alien, Jose Huerta Chuma. You can see this illegal alien on the screen to my left and right. That is Jose Huerta Chuma, whose criminal history includes domestic assault to intentionally inflict bodily harm, disorderly conduct, and driving without a valid license. During this operation, an individual approached U.S. Border Patrol agents with a 9mm semi-automatic handgun. The agents attempted to disarm the individual, but he violently resisted. Fearing for his life and the lives and safety of fellow officers, a Border Patrol agent fired defensive shots. Medics on the scene immediately delivered medical aid to the subject, but the subject was pronounced dead at the scene. The suspect also had 2 loaded magazines and no accessible ID. This looks like a situation where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. Then, about 200 rioters arrived at the scene and began to obstruct and assault law enforcement. Crowd control measures have been deployed for the safety of the public and law enforcement. This situation is evolving and more information is forthcoming. The officer was highly trained and had been serving as a Border Patrol agent for 8 years. The officer has extensive training as a range safety officer and less lethal officer. As mentioned, this is only the latest attack on law enforcement. Across the country, the men and women of DHS have been attacked, shot at, doxxed, had their family members threatened, and, as we have seen, more than 100 vehicle rammings over the past year against federal law enforcement. We will not allow violence against our law enforcement officers, and we need state and local help, state and local law enforcement, to help us coordinate to get violent criminals off the streets. Mayor Fry and Chief O'Hare just a few minutes ago did the opposite of that by omitting the fact that the suspect had a gun and magazines full of ammunition. In what looks like a situation, again, where an individual wanted to do maximum damage and massacre law enforcement. I want to reiterate what President Donald Trump, Secretary Kristi Noem, myself, Director Marcos Charles, and so many others have said time and again. If you obstruct a law enforcement officer or assault a law enforcement officer, you are in violation of the law and will be arrested. Our law enforcement officers take an oath to protect the public. We go to work every day to protect our friends, our neighbors, and our fellow citizens. The fact of the matter is that the law does not enforce itself. It takes men and women who are willing to risk their lives to enforce it. The men and women of CBP and ICE, law enforcement, are highly trained professionals who love this country and do this work because they want to leave their kids and their grandkids a country that's safe and secure. Questions?
All right.
Allie, go ahead. One question.
First question, when did agents learn that he had a gun, and did he ever brandish that weapon at agents?
This situation, again, is evolving. This situation is under investigation. Those facts will come to light. This particular incident is being investigated just like we investigate other similar incidents like we've done over the past several years. It's in the hands of professionals. Those facts will come to light.
All right, going on the next question.
So, did he have an additional gun, or was the gun moved from the scene? And I watched the video from start to finish of that woman who was wearing the red jacket, and it doesn't seem like he pulled the weapon at any point. So, does the account come from the agent? Did they say that he pulled the gun before, during, after? When does the gun come out?
Again, this situation's evolving. This is under investigation. Those facts will come to light, but let's take a look at the gun. You can see the gun here on the screen there that individual possessed. It appears to be a semi-automatic, high-capacity type, possibly a Sig Sauer 9mm.
All right, no more questions. Sorry, no more questions, sir.
Commander, where was the gun?
Exactly was the gun?
That's it, huh? That's it. That's all we're getting right now. Wow. I thought they'd give more. Sorry. So here is a statement President Trump said. He dropped this at about 5-10 minutes ago. Let's look at what President Trump had to say here. This is the gunman's gun, and he shows the picture of the gun loaded with 2 additional full magazines and ready to go. What is that all about? Where are the local police? Why weren't they allowed to protect ICE officers? The mayor and the governor called them off. It is stated that many of these police were not allowed to do their job. The ICE had to protect themselves. Not an easy thing to do. Why does Ilhan Omar have $34 million in her account? And where are the tens of billions of dollars that have been stolen from the once great state of Minnesota? We are there because of massive monetary fraud with billions of dollars missing, and illegal criminals that were allowed to infiltrate the state through the Democrats' open border policies. We want the money back, and we want it back now. Yes. Those fraudsters who stole the money are going to go to jail where they belong. This is no different than really a big bank robbery. Much of what you're witnessing is a cover-up for the theft and the fraud. The mayor and the governor are inciting insurrection. Bingo. With their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric. Instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for billions of dollars that has been stolen from the people of Minnesota and the United States. Let our ICE patrols do their job. 12,000 criminals, newcomers, many of them violent, have been arrested and taken out of Minnesota. If they were still there, you would see something far worse than you're witnessing today. And then he followed that up with this one, among other things. This is a cover-up for the billions of dollars that have been stolen from the once great state, but soon to be great again, of Minnesota, President Donald J. Trump. All right, so we had a quick message which tells me something is probably coming, that they're probably going to be doing something. I wanted to jump on real quick and take this press conference. Probably going to look at doing a live show again at about 6 p.m. Let's listen in on Fox.
Now is in danger of burning down a second time. What does that tell you about the fact that it's the same leadership there?
Yeah. Really quickly, I want to just read off a little bit of what the president posted on Truth Social. We had to cut away for this press conference, so I just want to highlight this part where he says the mayor and the governor are inciting insurrection with their pompous, dangerous, and arrogant rhetoric. Instead, these sanctimonious political fools should be looking for the billions of dollars that has been stolen from the people of Minnesota and the United States of America. The president adds, let our ICE patriots do their job. 12,000 illegal alien criminals, many of them violent, have been arrested and taken out of Minnesota If they were still there, you would see something far worse than what you are witnessing today. That's from the president after hosting on Truth Social here as this scene continues to get underway. Paul, thank you. Stick around. We might come back to you. Want to bring in now the Attorney General, Pam Bondi, joining us live here in studio. AG, thank you so much for coming in.
Sure.
This has been hard to watch for everyone involved. Let me just get your initial thoughts of what's happened here in Minneapolis in the last couple of hours.
Well, why this has happened in Minneapolis is because you have a mayor, you have a governor who has declared Minneapolis a sanctuary city, saying, bring your worst of the worst to Minneapolis. You're invited here. We will protect you. Aisha, these are the arrests. These are just the arrests that ICE has been making. And that's why Donald Trump has ICE in Minneapolis to protect the citizens. Sodomy of a boy, strong arm robbery. Sexual assault, sodomy of a girl under the age of 16. Rape, 12-year-old girl. Strong arm, rape, ag assault. Convicted rape, child fondling. These are all the illegals that Joe Biden was letting into our country. And they were all going to Minneapolis because the mayor, the governor, the AG, they were protecting them. And Donald Trump is going to protect the citizens of our country. I was there all week, as you saw. I was in Minneapolis, and we are going to protect our churches. We are going to protect our great men and women in law enforcement who were out there doing their jobs today. They were out there arresting a violent offender, and then this guy comes up. I can't talk about more of the details. Chief Bovino talked about that. It's now all pending, but we will support the men and women in law enforcement, and we will support the good citizens of Minnesota if the governor and that mayor aren't going to do it.
Some of the people that you arrested, like you mentioned, in the last couple of days, you feel it was incredibly organized.
Yes.
What can you tell us more about what we're seeing on the ground there? I mean, our Steve Harrigan, who's covered many wars, said that in his own observations, it feels incredibly organized. These people know each other. They know where to go. What do you know about this?
That's right. And I can tell you what I observed when I was there. It's extremely organized. The signs they have are all matching. They're well written. And look at what's happening today. How did these people go out and get gas masks, these protesters? Would you know how to walk out on the street and buy a gas mask right now? Yeah, think about that.
No.
Right. All of these protesters out there right now have gas masks on, matching, very expensive, by the way, gas mask. It's organized. They're out there to cause problems, and they're out there to hinder the great men and women in law enforcement, and we are not going to have it in Minneapolis or anywhere else in this country. We're going to protect our synagogues. We're going to protect our churches. That's why I was there, and we are going to fight back to keep people safe. Our country was founded on religion. Our country was founded on law enforcement, and that's what President Trump believes, and that's what we're going to do.
Something else that we've noticed on these live pictures is there's been a red flag being waved, and there are questions now of how much, of a communist influence there might be. This is Paul Morrow relating this to me, a communist, socialist, anarchist professionals, perhaps something else to perhaps look into. The Justice Department, we know, issued these subpoenas for multiple government officials, including Mayor Jacob Fry and Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Where are we on that?
Yeah, so Aisha, I can't comment, of course, on any pending criminal investigation, but they have confirmed, the governor confirmed, the AG Ellison confirmed, and the mayor confirmed that they all received subpoenas from my office to a federal grand jury. So that's all I can say right now legally.
Just your observation, AG, the way that they've been reacting to this. I mean, you saw the press conference with Mayor Jacob Fry. We've put up the tweets from Governor Tim Walz. There's not a whole lot of asking for calm. Instead, it's a lot more of get out. ICE, get out. President Trump, get your people out. We're trying to protect our neighbors. Do you feel like that is rhetoric that's contributing to this?
Well, we saw the mayor said, F ICE, get out of my effing city. How is that not rhetoric contributing to this? It all is. And that's the shame of it. Look at these murderers, homicide, rape, homicide, manslaughter. That's who they're trying to protect in Minnesota. I do not understand these people. We sent Governor Walz a very strong letter today. We had been working on this letter. We got it started out saying that he better support President Trump. He better support the men and women in law enforcement, because if he doesn't, we are. And that's what we're doing right now.
Were there any consequences in this letter?
Well, we'll see. This is fluid. Let's see how Governor Walz responds. Let's see what he does based on this, based on what's happening right now. But this administration is going to support the citizens. We're going to support our great men and women in law enforcement.
The president has talked before about invoking the Insurrection Act. That's come up a few times. He hasn't pulled the trigger yet. He didn't feel like it was the right time, at least a couple of days ago when he spoke with me. Should this change his calculus?
You know, Aisha, I haven't spoken with the president directly this morning. I know he's working this morning. He's here in D.C. He's working. I have not spoken with him, so I'm never going to get ahead of the president. This is a very fluid situation right now. I know all of my federal agencies are coming in right now to support and back up Homeland Security. We have DEA, we have ATF, we have all of FBI, of course, all of my agencies doing what they can to keep the citizens safe if Walz won't do it.
Okay. Attorney General Pam Bondi, thank you so much for joining us on this breaking news.
Thank you.
Good to see you.
You know, one of the reasons why you're not seeing the Insurrection Act that I feel is when they, and some of you guys may have noticed it, when they did the pullback shot and they showed the people in the street who were, you know, protesting, whatever, that was a very telling shot. We're talking about a couple hundred people. This isn't, I know it's bad when they're focused on it, when they're showing you stuff, but it's not a whole lot of people. The Minneapolis police handle your business. When President Trump said, I don't really need an Insurrection Act because I would have to mobilize all these troops to get them in there for a couple hundred people. The National Guard should be able to sweep this up. God, the Minneapolis police and their sheriffs should be able to clean this up. They're just choosing not to, which may be the only reason at this point that he'd have to go ahead and do the Insurrection Act, because there's not a cop. There's not a cop anywhere in the picture. They don't care. Look, wait, let me move to it. Here we go.
Could be elements like that who are funded by God knows who are coming into the crowd to try to get their message out using these means. And it's just another thing that escalates the situation. And it goes to the fact that these NGOs, if you drill down...
When you look at this right now, and you're looking at these people, 90% of them are just standing in the cold. They're not doing anything. They're just standing there. It's only a few of the agitators. Probably, if you got into the center of the crowd, I bet you it's 20 or 25 agitators. These people out here in the periphery who are just standing there, they're not doing anything. There is no urgency to remove them. They're just walking around. So I kind of understand at this point why he hasn't pulled the trigger on it, because there's nothing happening. The only thing that would need to happen, and you could ask Maximus or any other police officer, is just let the cops do their job. And maybe that's the one reason why you'd go in, is because they're not doing anything. They've decided, they've abdicated all of their ability to enforce law. Not the sheriffs, not the police. They're letting the hoodlums run around. And right now, they're just doing a chant. I mean, literally, it's just a chant. You can see them right there doing their cult stuff.
Things that the
They're like, yeah, free pound. Oh, wait, wrong place. Free. No. They can't talk about Khalid Mahmoud. What are we here for? Oh, that's right. I don't know. Oh, free Somalia. Where are the Somalians at? You notice that? You notice when you look at this crowd, it's all old white people and young white people. The Somalians ain't out there. It's too cold, man. Too cold. Let the white people deal with it. The insanity of what we're seeing, and I want to keep bringing it back, is a very small percentage. If the media would just go away, if they would just stop showing these nuts, they wouldn't keep coming. And if the governor would just put the police and his own National Guard out there, I mean, this is a cleanup crew. You could literally clean this up in an hour. But like what they're doing right now, that's just this is a peaceful protest. Look at yourself right there.
They've set up barricades.
They're just yelling in the street. Nobody's doing anything. Nothing's being burned. Nobody's throwing rocks. Look at now. That's what I wanted to show you. That is that's a block party. It is a winter block party in Minneapolis. Now, if that swells and they start doing crazy stuff, then yeah, you're going to have to do something, but it ain't that big. I bet you there's more people at one pavilion at the beach down here. It's the media who makes it look crazy. That's a couple hundred people, and they're just standing there. I'm not euphemizing. I'm saying that the Minneapolis police, if they were doing their job, it would be all over. The fact that they won't do what they need to do, the fact that people are getting killed because they're finding the freedom to do things. If you smile and decide you're going to run a car into a armed officer, you're going to get dealt with. If you bring a gun and try to fire it, you're going to get dealt with. Most of us know that. Most of us don't need therapy and free rent and free food to know don't bring a gun and deal with a cop. Don't try to run a cop over. It's common sense. This is insanity what you're looking at. Yeah, they do need a lot of psychobabble people to go out there. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. Somebody said, where do these 200 people come from? Nobody's checking IDs. Nobody's looking at them. Nobody knows who these people are. They just show up. We don't even know if they're from Minneapolis.
Sheer size of this crowd continues to grow. After this specific incident, we've had several speakers here saying, now that we have this block, we're turning our focus to getting ICE out of our city altogether, which is something federal officials have said simply is not going to happen.
We're actually getting some aerial footage too, just to show you how massive this crowd is. Just by looking at the footage we're getting from a helicopter above, it looks like it's covering about 2 blocks, maybe even more, of protesters and demonstrators who now at this point feel like that they're victorious, that they've been able to win in pushing away federal authorities and state and local law enforcement. And now they are in control of the streets in Minneapolis.
So you think if they don't have warrants in other areas of the city that they're not going to go serve those warrants? You don't think that they're going to go pick up people because, hey, listen, we'll just avoid the crazies. We'll come back when we need to. How many other guys we got? Oh, we got people over here in the west side of town. Okay, all the crazies are over there. Let's go pick up the people on this side of town. These people are morons, as well as the media too, because that's not a big crowd. I'm sorry, that's not a big crowd. Who knows what happens tonight under cover of darkness? That might be a whole different story. All right, so I don't know what these people are doing. It's crazy. Yeah, somebody goes, 200 of them automatically showed up as soon as a dude was shot. Yeah, they probably have a network. But look, just look at the overhead for yourself.
The reason why we're seeing, these deadly shootings and the chaos on the streets.
Yeah, well, very clearly he wants to get in on the narrative because this whole thing is so politicized and it's all, in their minds, pointed at the fact that Donald Trump.
So if you notice, there's people coming in from the periphery. So they've made the call. Come on down. Come on. Okay, well, come stand in the cold. You can stand in the cold. That's peaceful. Don't do stupid stuff. You won't win stupid prizes. It's very simple. Very simple. I'll keep monitoring this. See if President Trump is going to say anything more. Again, I'm planning on doing an actual show at 6 p.m. So we shall see what happens. President Trump has not posted anything else since then. I'd love for him to do a message tonight. That would be amazing. But no, it's not. The media makes it. She even said it's a massive crowd. I'm like, no, it looks like a big tailgate party. It's not that. It's not a massive crowd. You guys make it seem massive. But I mean, here, let me give you one last look here.
lighting things on fire. The problem is going to be squarely in the lap of Minneapolis PD. That they're not going to be able to avoid. This is not an ICE operation now. This is a local operation. There's no ICE activity going on there. So they're going to have to do their jobs. I still don't see them.
Okay,
they should
Paul,
be staged very nearby.
We got to dip into this presser with Governor Walz here.
Bob Jacobson to update the situation, joined here by Hennepin County Sheriff Witt, State Patrol Colonel, and General Menke, the Adjutant General of the Minnesota National Guard. Well, as I said last week, this federal occupation of Minnesota long ago stopped being a matter of immigration enforcement. It's a campaign of organized brutality against the people of our state. And today that campaign claimed another life. I've seen the videos from several angles, and it's sickening. But I have a strong statement here for our federal government. Minnesota's justice system will have the last word on this. It must have the last word. As I told the White House in no uncertain terms this morning, the federal government cannot be trusted to lead this investigation. The state will handle it, period. Let me say something else, and this is critically important. All of us understand what happened this morning and the tragedy of it, and my deepest sympathies to the family of a 37-year-old Minnesota resident, a lawful firearm concealed permit carrier, something that I've been lectured to by Republicans for decades. It is not only your right, it's your duty. We know that the potential to further inflame tensions is high, and to Minnesotans, there's a difference. We want calm and peace and normalcy back to our lives. They want chaos. We cannot and we will not give them what they want by meeting violence with violence. Minnesota and our local law enforcement, as you have seen, have done everything possible to de-escalate. Local media has reported extensively on the cooperation to de-escalate this situation. Donald Trump, I call on you once again, remove this force from Minnesota. They are sowing chaos and violence. We've seen deadly violence from federal agents again and again and again. But in contrast to that, on these frozen streets, what you witnessed yesterday was the best of Minnesotans, peacefully exercising their First Amendment rights. And I attended in the church basement hundreds of Minnesotans from all faiths packing care packages for families that have been ripped apart. Despite the horrific acts by this federal government, Minnesotans are standing up for the rule of law. They're protesting loudly and urgently, but peacefully. It must stay that way, Minnesota. Minnesotans are witnessing, and we're creating a log of evidence for the future prosecution of ICE agents and officials responsible for this. They're helping their neighbors. They're walking their kids to school. They're feeding families. I salute their courage and their restraint, and I call on all Americans to see the decency that this state is exhibiting and the horrific cruelty, unprofessional, absolute abomination that is passing for what these ICE agents are doing on our streets. They think they can provoke us into abandoning our values. Well, they're dead wrong. We'll keep the peace. We'll secure the justice with our neighbors, and we'll see this occupation ends. Minnesotans and Minnesota law enforcement that continuously is being denigrated by this administration will continue to be the adults in the room, the professionals in the room, the decent human beings in the room that will keep the peace. With this, I'd like to turn it over to Department of Public Safety Commissioner Bob Jacobson to update you on the situation as we know it. Thanks, Bob.
Thank you, Governor. I'm Bob Jacobson, Commissioner of Public Safety for the Department of Public Safety, and again, it's my honor to serve in that position. A man was shot and killed this morning in Minneapolis. I want to pause and remember what cannot get lost in this moment. A man died. His family and friends are feeling unimaginable heartbreak and trauma. And I know Minnesotans and I know our community will rally around this man's family and friends to support him. I also understand clearly that people are upset. They're scared, they're confused, and I want to assure you that this state's public safety officials and our local law enforcement partners are doing everything in our power to get answers, to help return a sense of normalcy back to our communities. You have the right to demonstrate peacefully. We recognize that demonstrations are often driven by strong emotions, beliefs, and a desire to be heard. But please, please remain peaceful. And I want to say it again because it is important and it is critical. Peacefully demonstrate. By doing so, you help local authorities to get answers. You help us to do our investigations. By remaining peaceful, you help ensure nobody else may be killed or injured. The thousands and thousands of people who gathered yesterday in Minneapolis prove that Minnesotans can make their voices heard peacefully, and they can do so without violence, and they can do so without destruction. And state resources are available and ready to support our local law enforcement partners as requested. And those resources include the Minnesota State Patrol, the Bureau of Criminal Apprehension, and the Minnesota National Guard. With that, we'll stand for questions.
Ken Gurnall with Carolyn. Governor, you've made this request before. Is there any reason to believe that it will be answered differently? Have you had any conversations with the president, with the federal government, and is there any indication that they are going to pull out or back down?
Well, I spoke twice this morning, shortly after I received the call of this shooting. I spoke with the President's Chief of Staff, and first request was to get her people out of there, to get these federal agents out of there. They were going to cause more chaos. And second call is, with no uncertain terms, that we will investigate this. We will not be stonewalled. What we've already seen, and you saw it this morning, before any investigation is done, you have the most powerful people in the federal government spinning stories and putting up pictures, and unrelated people who we don't know anything about, and a picture of a firearm to try and spin a narrative. And I ask Americans, this will end when enough Americans say this will end. Do I have any confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing? No, I don't have a lot of confidence Donald Trump will do the right thing. I do have a lot of confidence that the majority of the American people will do the right thing. And I think there cannot be very many people across this country looking right now, after all the reporting that's been done, after everything that's been said under the pretense that they are here about immigration reform, and quit referring to these people as law enforcement. They are not law enforcement. We have law enforcement who do an incredible job. And to listen to Greg Bovino denigrate the work of our people who are out there cleaning up their mess, no, I don't have a lot of confidence that he himself will do it. But here's what I do have confidence in. There's a whole lot of Republicans, for whatever reason, cannot find their spine. But they might find the ability to know that they're not going to win another election as long as they live, unless they stand up for what's right, and stand up for the rule of law, and stand up for human decency, and that's the moment.
So then, just a follow-up, because then if that is not the case, what are the people of Minnesota supposed to do who are in the middle right now? Because if they stonewall and you're trying to investigate, is that forcing?
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And look, I speaking to the people of Minnesota right now, I hear that scream from you, and I'll continue to plead and ask you for peace. And I know the answer is, you ask us for peace and we give it, and we get shot in the face on the streets coming out of a donut shop. We cannot give them what they want. I don't know how to say this in so many terms, to watch the madness that we've witnessed over this last week coming out of the White House and what it's doing here. My confidence is, and I say it to Minnesotans, as I've said, exercise your First Amendment rights, speak out, bear witness and document legally. But I understand the risk in that, and I understand the courage that it takes to have people out there doing this. Thank God we have video, because according to DHS, these 7 heroic guys took an onslaught of a battalion against them or something. It's nonsense, people. It is nonsense, and it's lies. So my confidence is this, Minnesotans. You know who you are, and you demonstrate it every single day, and we damn sure know who these people are. The American public knows, and this needs to be the event that says enough. Go ahead. No, I'm up front.
Governor Carolyn Cummings, either you or Commissioner Davis can speak to the fact that you talk about you don't trust the federal government to handle this investigation. We know with the Renee Good shooting, BCA said that they were blocked from accessing evidence. Has there been any suggestion that BCA is not allowed to do this investigation? Do you have officers on the ground doing the investigation right now?
The question was related to whether or not the BCA is on the ground currently with the investigation, and a reference to previous investigations that the BCA have attempted to be a part of. What I'll tell you right now is that we no longer have BCA agents or public safety, state patrol, or Minneapolis on the ground at that crime scene.
Is that an instruction by the federal government, or did you pull your agents out?
What I will tell you, and not to get further into the investigation, but DHS pulled out of the scene, leaving that to Minnesota State Patrol, Minneapolis. We did not have enough resources to be able to hold that ground safely, and we had to leave that scene because of the number of people that were available and the safety of those in the public and the safety of our teams. We were able to get there, but at that time we were not able to hold that scene to do a crime scene investigation. I can't talk any more about those details.
Who is handling the investigation, if not either DHS nor state officials right now?
We'll have more on that, but the BCA is engaged and involved, and we are working at the request of the Minneapolis Police Department on this, on the scene and in this investigation. So we are there, we're available. We want to make sure that we continue to work on this and engage with our federal law enforcement, but at this point, we don't have anything more to share about the crime scene. Again, we were not able to hold it. We wanted to make sure and keep people safe, but federal law enforcement left the scene and left us there.
Governor Ernesto with the New York Times. Have you activated the National Guard? I noted that Sheriff Witt has requested for additional assistance. Can you tell us whether they're going to be playing a role?
Yes, the answer is yes, we have, as we said last week, and we staged those troops. I'll have General Menke talk about where they're at, and again, use this as an opportunity to stress to Minnesotans the frustration you have, and as you saw this, they killed a man, created chaos, pushed down protesters, threw gas indiscriminately, and then left the scene, and then we're left to clean up. I understand the anger. I understand trying to parse who were the law enforcement on the scene when you got there after a man was killed is difficult for the folks who are out there. But I can't stress enough, our goal, and I'll have General Menke talk about what the role of these Guard troops are in conjunction with incredible work from the Hennepin County Sheriff's Office, from mutual aid across, and of course the State Patrol, of trying to get to the point where what we're saying is we can handle this and Minnesotans can express their First Amendment rights and have our folks on the streets and get these people out of here. And so, John, if you want to talk a little bit, but the answer is yes, there's activated. He can talk to you about numbers.
To be clear, that they're activated different than having them staged.
Yeah.
So the question is, what's the National Guard doing right now? So we have, we have been on state active duty for over a week. So we've had soldiers prepared in the metro area to respond in a much rapid manner than if they were not mobilized. So we have a request from the Hennepin County Sheriff to support them, and that is to help them free up additional resources for other work that they need to do. And we have started coordinating with them this morning on that, and that first area of support will be assisting them with their requirement to provide security to the Whipple building. So we'll be helping them there. And then we are in parallel planning with other organizations within the state of Minnesota, to include the State Patrol, the Minnesota DNR, and other local agencies to render assistance if requested.
Can you say how many are now employed?
I would say that the number that we have is adequate for the requests that we have right now, and I will also tell you that we are bringing more resources that will be able to respond in a timely manner that are not fully mobilized yet, but we are mobilizing more soldiers as we talk at this time. I'd like not to get into specific numbers for an operational security standpoint, but right now we have all the resources to meet the requests that we have.
I would note on this one, too, that we'll be billing the federal government for the cost of the National Guard because they are incurring the costs that are falling on us by their reckless actions. Yes, sir.
You alluded to this earlier, but are you rejecting the narrative that has been presented by federal officials that this man, this 37-year-old citizen of Minneapolis, posed a threat to these agents? And are you rejecting the idea that he played some role with the weapon in leading to
I'm rejecting the rush to judgment within 15 minutes of this, which they did last time. That's why you need to have a fair investigation. And that's why a video can show one thing, but what happened beforehand. But they already will slander this individual. They've already made this the case. And I will just say you will all start to see it, and some of you probably have. There's multiple angles of this. And I'll go back to what we talked about before. They're telling you not to trust your eyes and ears, not to trust the facts that you're seeing in front of them. And at some point in time, your reporting, and I think the reporting this week has been spectacular across Minnesota, that there's not two sides to every story. But in this situation, what I'm saying is we need to have a fair investigation, understanding what's happening and held accountable. We continue to hear, and we heard it from the Vice President, that these folks can do whatever they want. They can have full immunity. And what I'm telling you is they will not. There will be justice to Minnesotans. Continue to gather the information. So I won't say where it is because I think it's irresponsible to make that judgment. But what I see with my eyes and what you're going to see with your eyes makes that pretty hard to believe. And I would imagine as a federal officer, they would have come out and sounded like these professionals sound and say, we need to gather the information, we need to gather all the facts, we need to put them forward, and then we can make some informed decision based on the fact. They've written the narrative already. And the audacity to critique the police chief of Minneapolis after what work that those heroic officers are trying to do, and to be critiqued by this guy, I mean, I don't know, I've said it a lot, but America, as you're listening, enough is enough. Enough is enough of this. End this. End this. And we see them moving to Maine. If you're in Boston, you're in Chicago, you're in Philly, you're in Miami, it doesn't matter. We can't live like this. Our children are in trauma. A 5-year-old, you saw the picture, the bunny hat and the Spider-Man. These are not like some narrative to throw around, to parade around in some coat you had made and act like you're a tough guy or whatever. These are people's lives, and we have rule of law. So I'll let the investigation play itself out. We will do our best to find it, but I don't know, you kill a man and then you just leave your law enforcement, you just leave him. Is there a single case in American history where you just like walk away and say, I guess that just happened and we're not going to clean up our mess? I'm proud of Minnesotans. I'm proud of law enforcement here and our partners, and we'll get to the bottom of it. I think we have time for another one. So, yes, ma'am.
Breaking down with you guys to Channel 5. Vice Commander just said in the press conference within the hour that they're calling on state and local law enforcement to, quote, help coordinate to get violent criminals off the street. What's the response to that?
I'm better off to let these guys, the professionals, I have my thoughts.
So the question was, what are we doing to assist federal law enforcement on getting violent criminals off the street, if I understand the question?
Greg Levino said that in the press conference. He was calling on state and local law enforcement. So what is your response to that?
State and local law enforcement are always ready and willing and able to arrest violent offenders. We do not stand down from that, no matter where we get that information from. If there are violent offenders or violent criminals or violent crimes, we will investigate and we'll bring those to justice. If the federal government would like to work with us, to continue to work with us as they have in the past, to locate those violent offenders, we are always open to those discussions and always willing to assist. We do not ignore that. We are ready and able, and we do that. All of you as part of the media hear us arresting violent offenders all the time. We have not stood down. That is our mission. The federal government is not alone in arresting violent offenders. State and local law enforcement does that every day at great risk to their life, at great risk to the community. We do it because we want a safe Minnesota, and the federal government is not the only one to do that.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it.
A completely different view on what we are watching here from Governor.
I love that. It's a completely different view. It's like these people don't realize there's cameras and we can see these people all throughout the street doing crazy stuff. It's absolutely insane how they sit there and say, we'd like to, we don't have enough cops. The cops, we only got 600. That's because you tried to defund the police. And there's not a cop in sight. Here, look, not a single cop in sight.
Like they have the person identified. So if the implication is supposed to be that he lawfully had the gun, how can you say that when he's not identified? Because, for instance, if he's a felon, he almost certainly can't get a permit. So that's a contradiction. There's all kinds of contradictions in there. For instance, Jacobson said that we had to pull out of the situation. We tried to hold it, but we had to pull out because of the protesters. This is in the same press conference in which Waltz said we're peacefully protesting. And notice he characterizes himself with the protesters. It's always we, as you made the point earlier. Well, if it's so peaceful, why did law enforcement have to flee? And furthermore, the point that he started with really, in my estimation, shows his unprofessionalism. I'm sorry. Law enforcement always puts out a photo of the gun in a situation where you have a shooting and the perpetrator had a gun because it's an effort to tamp things down. Now, we don't know where the investigation is going to go. I want to be professional myself and say we have to wait to see what comes out of the situation. But to criticize the federal government for putting out the image of the gun when you had a shooting that implicates deadly force, that's routine. That's a standard MO that always goes on in police investigations where a gun was involved. So I don't understand why he's invoking that. And just to close the loop here, their position is unequivocal. There's all this like happy talk about virtue signaling and we're trying to cooperate. And, that's when you're getting into a very political situation. When you get this amorphous talk about children with a bunny hat who are being traumatized, a story that's already been debunked, by the way. But notice their position is simply the following. ICE can't come here. That's it. And that's just not accurate under the Constitution. I'm sorry. Minnesota is part of America. The country voted for this. Yeah. These laws are on the books, and I don't see any level of cooperation despite what they say.
Well,
no, and it will continue to be a clown circus in Minneapolis because you can tell they don't have anything else. The Democrats don't have anything else. They are grasping. Despite what the Panikins are saying, they're grasping for something that they can, latch onto. And what they are having a big problem with is you and me. The fact that they post stuff online and half the country just goes, okay, they're doing their job. Guy shouldn't have brought a gun into the situation. He shouldn't be resisting. This is all kinds of stuff that's very, very easy for people to look at. You don't want to see this craziness? Let ICE do their job. Every single person who's had an issue at this point, there's one simple remedy. Leave. That's it. Leave. We don't want you in the country. They're looking for you. I saw the video of the lady in the airport who got dragged out, and she was screaming, and people were like, look what they did to that defenseless woman. That defenseless woman knew in November that somebody won the election who had promised to come for them. You see, the problem that these people are having is they realize now that Democrats can't protect them. That's what the problem is, that Tim Waltz, Jacob Fry, all of them, that people are now knowing you're toothless. You can't do anything. And so if you're still here in January of the year after, and you see what's happening. Imagine this. You're sitting at home right now. You're afraid to go out. You don't have any food. It's cold outside because, you're not supposed to be in a country. And you see this going on. And at the same time, you know that there's a $3,000 check and a plane ticket waiting for you. Why are you not taking that plane ticket and that money? Do you want to go through this kind of craziness? Do you want to get snatched out of your house by armed and masked people? Or are you being told not to go? Are you being told by these Democrats that will protect you? You see, Tim Waltz is crying and said he's waiting for Americans to do things. And what he's trying to do is get support, and it's not happening. People are turning off the media. They don't care. They're living their lives. They're seeing prosperity rise, and it's only in this small pocket that it doesn't conflate. I mean, it's so, the contrast is too big. These people are degenerates. These aren't good people. You know, what's going to happen is the good people, as I've said many times, the good people are going to have to rise up. When you're looking at this and you see 1,000 people in the street, at the same time, you got to go, where do they not have 1,000 good people in Minnesota? Where's their resistance? At some point, good people have to be prepared to speak out. And I'm not saying protest. This is nuts. People, I don't want to see people have to do this crap, and I wouldn't even advocate for it. But you can speak up in other ways. These people are degenerates. They're losers. They're complete losers, and we can't let them basically control how we live our lives. And that's the problem. Got some good news for you. I don't know how long it will be good news, but this came out. An appellate court has found that there is probable cause to charge Don Lemon in a Minnesota church storming, but they declined to force the lower court to sign the warrant. I don't know what that means. AG Harmeet Dillon says, stay tuned. There's a clear case. Don Lemon is not above the law. Arrest this clown. No more two-tier justice. So I wanted to show that before I sign off, because tomorrow, Sunday, many of you are going to be going to church. After what happened today, these nuts are going to become nuttier. They're going to feel more emboldened. Oh, some people, the 3 idiots, spent 1 night in jail, and they're feeling more emboldened. Be very, very careful. Be very, very careful tomorrow when you go to church, because there's no telling what these idiots are going to do. President Trump just posted, and let me show you that. It is actually possible that the total amount of money stolen over the years by corrupt politicians and fraudsters from Minnesota will exceed $100 billion. In any event, whether it is or it isn't, the theft, the incompetence, and fraud is massive. Sadly, whatever numbers we find, California and other Democrat-run states will be worse. Stay tuned. This is probably what they're fighting for. They're about to be exposed on a grand level, how much they've been stealing from us, on and on and on. And it's, I guess that's scary. If I were them, I would definitely be scary. Let me see, SB got something else for me here. What do you got? I can't show that. He's got a video. You know, everybody was looking for the lady in the pink jacket. Let's get her video. Well, there's another angle at this point, and this in this new angle was captured by the woman in the pink from who was right there. It shows the scuffle, and again, the guy pulled the gun. So I don't know what Tim Walz is saying. I think he's trying to tell people, yeah, you haven't seen what I've seen. Well, we're looking at it right now, and hold on, let me look at it myself. I'm seeing people attack the cops, throw snowballs on their heads, and he's on the ground, and they're doing some stuff, and they're trying to do things here. You guys, if you follow Nick Sortor, go on his page, and there's the lady in the pink who's filming from this angle. You can see the actual arrest and the takedown and everything else, which they would never let me show it here. But you get to see everything that happens, and it's pretty clear. The struggle between, I mean, he was forced to fire, and then the guy got done. He got taken out. And I'm not allowed to show that. I wouldn't want to show it and have you guys see somebody die, but I mean, that's a little much, but it's crazy. It's crazy at this point. All right, so I'm going to endeavor to get back on here at about 6 o'clock. I had planned to go live at 6 o'clock anyway, But all this stuff is going on. So let me do super chats if there's anything in here, and then I'll let you guys go. And hopefully, if I have time, I can regroup again for tonight, because I'm pretty sure there's going to be some more information coming out. I just watched him chase down some fat guy, and he bounced on the pavement. Oh, that's too funny. That's too funny. All righty, here we go. Duty calls. Pekoski, are you a cop? I didn't know that. I didn't know you were a law enforcement officer. Yeah, the weekend attire. This is what you get when you're not prepared to go on, and you just happen to be working around the yard and doing honey-do stuff. And so you just, hey, turn on, let's go. The weekend attire. Go live, game over. This is a crap show. Minnesotans are fearful to speak up. It's time that they do, with the help of Republican state reps. I agree. Pekoski yesterday, build a wall around them. I agree with that. You know how they put those construction things in ponds? Just put the whole wall around them. Let them have Minnesota. We can give up on it. It ain't doing nothing for us. Thanks for coming on and showing the truth as always. And I would venture to say that Bavino or maybe Christy No might have a presser later. So I'm going to see what else we find out. It's so early. It literally just happened. And so everybody rushed to the mic without really having the details. I kind of like that Bavino had a short presser, because by having that short presser, he doesn't have all the data right now. Let's get all the information. Looks like they're spewing tear gas all over the place again. There's a girl with that video that Hockey Grumps is talking about. That's the pink lady, and that has been posted on Nick Sortor's page. I don't know how he got it. After defund the police, Vielka, Minnesota lost credibility and probably lost a lot of officers. Lady Gizmo, thank you. Lady Gizmo, again, curfew time and Insurrection Act. I don't know why the curfew hasn't been the first thing that they've done. I don't know why. Tim, how you doing, bro? The way they spin this crap, Insurrection Act now, squash it, restore order, military is the only way forward, the Patriots. I almost wonder, I don't know, I'd have to look it up. Can they just go in and take over the government of the state? Like, we're just going to run this now. You guys have shown you have no clue. Michelle says, I live in Minnesota. 90% of this state backs Trump. So they're pleading with people across the country. Do something. Get out there and protest. No. Cindy, let's go MAGA Patriots. We have to help with what President Trump wants. He is our president. He says it all on X, True Social. Exactly. Got to vocalize it. I couldn't believe that guy went up to the microphone and actually talked about not having enough people to mobilize the National Guard yet. What are you waiting for? Let's see here. Buddy Sanders, send in the scoops. Tim, again, FYI, the Patriots battle cry, not boo-hoo crying. Mariah, high time to set an example here. Let's hope. Yes, I agree. We got to say, well, I think the example is being set. I mean, we've had 2 people, unfortunately, lose their lives for the sole reason that they're stupid. And nothing the government can do except help them get big GoFundMe checks or whatever. Demon of Cybertron, these people are LARPers. Just crumble up papers and yell lightning bolt instead of bring a pew, and you'll be fine. Be careful tomorrow. Be extremely careful tomorrow in your churches. Let me move this down. There it is. Greetings, Mr. Barry. Could you please read Psalms 101 and say hi to my mom? Hey, Mom. Hi, Mom Bugisha. She loves your show. Her name is Claudette. Hello, Claudette. Your show helps her during this time of grieving for one of my bro, Gregory. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. But yeah, we're one big family here. So a lot of people here, I'm sure, will reach out to Claudette right now and give them her best as well. All right, so I'm going to get out of here because there's just so much going on, and I'll see if I can get back on at 6. Thank you guys for tuning in on a short notice, and I'm sure there'll be a press conference update here real soon, because this insanity just can't keep going on. All right, talk to you in a bit.